heard our tape. This is amazing, can I produce your records? Johnny helped us quite a lot, getting us a top professional manager. After he came to see us, he actually phoned Marcus and said, I've just seen the greatest band of the last 5 years. It was at the end of the same month that Oasis landed their famous deal when they went up to Glasgow with the Sister Lovers to play at King Tut's Wawa Hut. The Sister Lovers thought they'd sorted out with the promoter that Oasis could play too. Basically, the promoter was worried by the small turnout and refused to let Oasis play. Noel pointed out that they had brought 17 people up from Manchester with them, and if they didn't play, things might get out of hand, as they'd all travelled a long way and expected to see them play. Eventually, the promoter agreed to let Oasis play a short 15 or 20 minute set. Supposedly, the presence of Alan McGee, head of Creation Records, at the gig was a coincidence, but according to Alan, the story goes like this. I'd had an argument with my girlfriend, so decided to go to Glasgow for the weekend. I needed cheering up, so I went to the club. Someone pointed out that all these guys from Manchester and said that I might kick off that night if they weren't allowed to play. When I saw them, I knew I'd just seen the greatest rock and roll band in the world, and I knew they thought I was mad when I offered them a deal there and then. It was pure coincidence. According to Noel, it was like this. When we finished playing, this tall geezer with a ginger skinhead and glasses wearing a denim shirt and white jeans came up to me. Do you want a record deal? He was very smooth and he handed me a card that said Alan McGee, President of Pop. I looked at it and said, so it's all your fault, is it then? He just said, look, don't take that piss. You don't know me. Yeah, but I've heard all this shit on your label. Suffice to say, Alan McGee was well impressed that night in Glasgow and bought the band train tickets to go down to London to see him a few days later. Noel remembers. Bonehead, Liam and I went down to see Alan at Creation in London. We were expecting it to be this big flash office. We got in a cab at Euston Station and ended up in Hackney. When we went into Creation, it was like a rubbish tip with empty bottles everywhere and people asleep. Then we had to go down to Alan McGee's office, which was called the Bunker, with a big door and a sign that read, Alan McGee, President of Pop. We just went in. He sent his assistant across the road to the pub for some Jack Daniels and said, do you like Rod Stewart? I said, yeah, and he said, right, you've got the deal. We just felt totally comfortable because they were all music fans. Noel got in touch with Johnny Marr, who'd already primed his own manager, Marcus Russell of Ignition Management, on Oasis, and the first steps to stardom were taken. At the time, Noel was just anxious to get a record out. He believed in his songs and was of the opinion that big mega deals and the charts would come later. He just wanted someone to put a single out for them and quickly. I think that was his only big stipulation with Alan McGee when he met him. In July 1993, Oasis played their last gig at the Boardwalk, and it was pretty well packed out. It seemed everyone had caught on to the fact that they had landed a deal with Creation Records. There had been a couple of pieces in the Manchester Evening News in the past year, and City Life were now getting interested, mainly due to the live demonstration tape that the band had recorded with the Real People in Liverpool back in May. What was encouraging was that a few local DJs had been playing tracks from it, like Pete Mitchell on his IQ show on Piccadilly Key 103 FM, and Terry Christian on Red Rose FM in Lancashire. A lot of people had started to hear Oasis tracks outside the confines of Manchester's incestuous music and media circles. The NME were there for the first time. Emma Morgan, a small, quiet, bespectacled girl from Brooklands, just 17 years of age, who was covering live gigs in Manchester at the time, had heard the Oasis demo on Craig Cash's show on Signal Cheshire and had hustled to get NME to let her review the band's gig. It was a great write-up. It went something like this. Shout to the rooftops and dance in the streets, Creation have not gone mad. Their latest find, Manchester's Oasis, are a genuinely fine guitar-propelled band with little of the crass baggage such a description suggests. They're not perfect. They might find it hard instinctively to impress, but they still stomp out the kind of terrifyingly memorable tunes that most bands forgot how to make as they blundered around on the periphery of true talent. Sound-wise, they're slightly reminiscent of a drugged-up version of the Stone Roses. It's almost as though everyone's favourite stroppily invisible Manx have grown up and decided to take it slow this time. Mercifully, what they haven't mislaid is the basic brilliant melodic framework as demonstrated by opener Stray Dogs, with a rhythm involving more than 3 chords and a lyric concerned with driving your mates mad with jealousy because you're getting some bloke's lasagna, hopefully not a metaphor, and they're not. It's impossible not to be drawn in to take a closer listen. I think our Liam must have memorised it by heart. This is the end of side 2.